option.
Okay.
All right, Zeus.
We get it.
He wants to get one more POG in the regular season. We'll see whether he can actually do it. Of course, Aurelia has been a great pick into the Gnar in the past. Sometimes falls flat, but if it's a really good Aurelia, the Gnar often struggles to find any relevance.
Crucially here for T1, it's another draft that, barring the top side of the map, I think is very stable, right? Like a lot of these picks are going to have value regardless, even if you fall behind. The CC chain that they have available is ludicrous.
Oh yeah.
And if you'd want to optimize, or itemize rather, into things like Mercury threads, then you're going to have a lot of other issues, right? Because even with all that CC available, there's only one AP source on the enemy team. You're playing into a lot of heavy auto attackers, so just a lot of awkward situations that DRX is going to find themselves in. I do think the composition has moments where it could work. Is it actually going to? That is a big one. Also wondering which Gumayusi build we're going to see here, because...
Yeah, I'm interested in that one as well.
I think that lethality is obviously the expected choice here, especially into a comp that doesn't really have front line and you don't appeal notably to speak of. And often teams end up going for the safer build, but maybe we see hybrid, you know? Maybe we see a crit build on hit. Could all happen.
Yep, certainly a lot of options when it comes to Varus. The lethality build has been nerfed a couple of times to bring it out of the forefront of the meta. I think a lot of people are pretty happy with that one. As Deft is going to be making his way onto the Rift here. The good old Lux Caitlyn on the bottom side of the map, and this will be the absolute pressure point for DRX. They need to be able to play around this lane. We'll see whether they can against such powerful all-in. You've already mentioned it, but Varus Nautilus, very, very strong. As Beryl looking for a bit of a back here. As Carrier, let's see whether he times this one right. No. Ward goes down. He's going to start the back again. All right. Hook is still going to come through, and so Beryl's just going to get caught, and now Gumayusi comes down, and maybe the bottom lane is not going to be what DRX can play through after all.
Well, at least they don't use a summoner, I guess. You gotta look for the positives here, because that's not ideal, Atlas.
Yeah, you thought I was caster cursing T1. That whole time we're like, they better play through the bottom lane, and then Beryl just gets hooked. And now things become very, very difficult.
Well, it's a kill on Carrier, and you have a summoner advantage, so maybe no, I got nothing.
Yeah, no, it's going to be rough. It is certainly going to be rough. But he goes back, he grabs himself a Ruby Crystal. And so very tanky is the Nautilus for a level 1. Should still be DRX with a modicum of control, but another hook is going to connect as a Beryl. He did save his summoner spells, but now he only has 200 health. As Carrier might have that hook back available again relatively soon. And it is going to be the Guardian Lux as well, so not going for the more aggressive option or anything like that. Wanted to make sure that he can keep Deft as safe as possible.
Well, also himself, after what has happened thus far.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. And, yeah, overall, level 2 is hit. Crucially, if they do find the all-in, right, and if you get put behind in this lane, you are in for a really rough time. Because so much of the pressure of this lane comes from the shove, comes from the aggressive movement that's possible. Carrier.
Yeah, Hook is going to connect one more time. Beryl is just kind of addicted to taking these as the net is going to come down, but Carrier is still chasing. Will he get another one? Flash forward, gets the passive. Decent light binding is there, though. That stops Owner from coming down. So, Beryl will be alive, but won't have his flash. Now we're going to check out this top lane, of course. Should theoretically take a little while, but maybe it doesn't, as that is the Blade Surge, and Kingen is just dead.
The one upside of this, Atlas, is that in the previous game, we had to wonder where did all the T1 money come from. It was a question that we did not find the answer to. And I was like, you know, I've studied some tactical back in my day. Maybe we can use that. We have to find a solution. But in this game, it's very obvious. Because that's now 2 kills. Kara's like, I didn't want that kill! I didn't ask for this!
Oh, the reaction was actually just priceless.
Yeah, and Zeus already finds the solo kill at level 3. Generally, what happens is the Gnaw has some pressure, right?
Yeah, Carrier is going to sidestep the light binding. Let's see whether Pyosik can lock down the kill. Flashes, Wind becomes lightning, and now Gumayusi has nowhere to run. Actually felt like it was a creative flash, but still he's able to trade one back. Deft gets a kill. As now, Owner wanting to see whether he can get something 1 versus 2. Deft with 200 health is a juicy target as W comes through from Zeus here on the top side. And Kingen only just made his way back to this lane, but he's already at half health.
And that's a very necessary set of kills that are found on the bot side of the map, right? Those are actually really, really big. And if Pyosik doesn't find that play, it is really doomed.
Okay, there's Meganar.
Yeah, see? It's going to be fine because Kingen still has to respect regardless. But as I want to highlight, if Pyosik doesn't find a gank, it is absolute disaster. Barrel is still level 2.
Okay.
But he can took XP off of mid, so that's something.
Yeah, it's certainly not a great turn of events.
No, but, okay. So, at the very least, Pyosik has a kill, should be able to spread that influence around the rest of the map, and it is actually Deft that picks up the kill that goes down on Carrier as well, or it might have been Guma, not quite sure, but regardless, with those kills, this lane is at least moderately equalized, and even with Gumayusi getting the kill on Barrel, he has to invest his flash, and that's really big because, again, Caitlyn locks lanes even when they're like relatively behind. A single skill shot still means death, and with that kill on Deft, it's actually really, really big. And Pyosik now trying to also make a play on top side as
Kingen was acting juicy as Pyosik's going to turn up, and T1 just get the news that they want to be backing off. Done, nice little stun. Going to hit onto Kingen, but T1 not going to overextend. Just going to shake hands here with DRX as they get the wave shoved towards the T1 turret. Still, Zeus not scared, as you can see. Faker went back. He does have a 10 CS deficit right now on the Viger, but not necessarily going to be outlaning a Rise in the early game.
No, obviously now that he has his tier and Lucidity boots, should be feeling a lot better, and is just looking to stack up the Q as fast as possible. Once Everfrost comes through, his threat will become a lot more apparent. This is, of course, we've seen this picked as a counter pick, but it does require a fairly high level of execution. Even if you do get leads in the lane, where a lot of our earliest struggle is to then take that lead and transition it into actual meaningful pressure either in the map or in team fights.
We've seen it look like either a hard counter or a self counter.
Yes.
It's a very interesting situation as Carrier looks for a potential flash, but the light binding is good onto Gumayusi, and he's not able to weave that gigantic anchor through the minions. As Zek is put into the baby cage for the moment. And Faker's just going to eat honey fruit. It was his lunch break, I guess. And Owner's going to come down towards his bottom side. The roaming Viger is the most terrifying version. As Carrier takes half of his health bar, but isn't too worried. There's the Predator. Faker looking to come down, wants to kill Barrel. They know who doesn't have the flash.
Oh, here they
come.
come.
They are going to be able to take it. Okay, Realm Warp to bring Zeka in there as Pyosik. Wind becomes lightning. They're looking to try and grab the kill onto Carrier, but immediately it is traded back. Wind becomes lightning there as well. Going to connect from Owner. As now Deft dashing forward, does manage to help grab the kill onto one, but the event horizon is in, and now Owner's getting resets. Finds himself a beautiful little combo onto Zeka here as well, as now the flash forward, the last auto. Cool guys don't look at explosions, and in the meantime there's a battle on the top side as well. Kingen knows that he's not going to win the extended trade, so he does crush his way out.
Oh, and that looked like a great initial counter from DRX, but they knew it was going to be a risk, right? Because, crucially, that was a 3 versus 4 that they opted into with that Realm Warp, trying to salvage a bad situation with Barrel dying, not having the flash available at that point in time. And the overall result, not great, as...
Yeah, Zeus going to get himself a turret plate as Pyosik moves up towards his top side. Knows that that brush isn't water, but there's a Carrier hiding in this one. The Vanguard's Edge comes out, and now Pyosik is just going to be food. The W is going to have all that damage reduction, but Pyosik should be able to wander his way out of this one. Carrier still had, fire in his eyes.
Thank you, Jonah Strong, for making us feel what Carrier's opponents have the entire split. Because honestly, like, what do? You think you have a nice counter, Pyosik setting up, and then there is Carrier finding a wonderful roaming, gone for the Moby boots as well. And now the gold leads are slowly starting to become a bigger problem. So much action, 12 kills in 8 minutes. What is this?
It's just nuts. This is also the first time that Faker's played Viger. I actually find that very interesting.
Whoa,
because Viger has been a champion in the LCK for quite some time, but just not one that he has opted into playing. So 72 after Kai'Sa was picked up just a little bit earlier. That is a whole lot of champions. Still looking forward to the Garen.
Honestly, the fact that he played Kai'Sa mid before Vega.
I know, it's a bit crazy.
It is.
Well, Pyosik is going to be able to grab the Herald, so DRX at least able to do that. They're staying in relative touching distance as far as gold. But it is starting to feel like with all of this tempo that has been ramping up, with the fact that Zeus is so strong, like look at how far behind Kingen is. It's ridiculous. No one's going to be able to match the Aurelia in a side lane.
Oh no.
And now Deft is going to get paid a visit by his former teammate. And he just chains all of the CC. Event Horizon goes down and Faker's like, thank you very much for that, kind sir, for putting that kill on a silver platter for me.
Yeah, so when Vega accelerates, the game doesn't become very fun for anyone else. I mean, Vega's team is having a great time.
Yeah,
obviously.
Faker is like 3-0-3, and it was like Kerry coming down to the bottom lane saying, oh lord, would you like another kill?
Yes, please. that would be wonderful.
Oh my god.
It starts off with this, right? And the pick on barrel was completely fine. And crucially, DRX, they've used a lot of cooldowns. We can make this work. The problem, of course, is that Pyosik is very far up, and while initially he's able to tank a lot of damage with his ultimate, everyone on 2-1 just walks in. And then Deft, that flash forward might come back to haunt him, because that is exactly what begets the following sequence of events, where Owner is Viego, and is just gonna have a great time. The final auto to add insult to injury from Faker.
He was also a great Caitlyn. Really enjoyed the speed of the combo as well. Very nice.
As this is like...
I don't even think Zeus needed to flash there at all.
But this is the thing. Like, imagine feeling like you have a good gank setup, and then you just get killed by Keria, who's randomly there.
Yeah.
It's such a wonderful roam time, and he keeps finding these, right?
Do you think Nautilus maybe has too much CC in his kit?
I don't think so.
It was pretty absurd.
Well, yeah,
how long he just holds Deft there, and there is absolutely nothing that he could do. As T1 will grab themselves the first Drake of the game. They don't often do that, but if it's there, they will collect it. Second one will be the Ocean before we get to the inevitable Cloud Soul as Pyosik playing the long game.
It's a trap.
Yeah, the Lucent Singularity. It's a trap, but for whom? As
Carrier. Alcove Gaming.
Yeah, well, there is a control ward that he's standing on top of. Will get sight of it, as you can see.
The Alcove!
Oh, he flashes immediately! Gets out of the way, and he's not risking it.
Look at Guma giggle. He's like...
Yeah, and Kerry's like, I was scared.
Oh, well, he flashes, but he has Hex Flash, so it's only like half a summoner that you get here.
Yep. I actually think that Carrier is more dangerous with a Hex Flash. That means more plays. So I think maybe even wanted to do that. Rune Prison goes down in the mid lane, Faker taking a bit of damage, as that's the Chains of Corruption. It's going to lock down a lot of the members of DRX, as decent poke lands onto Pyosik, but still, Shelly will get some value. And DRX, they are at least able to keep parity in the bottom lane, but this is not how the Kate lane's supposed to go.
So this is the thing, is that DRX are playing really well. Like, they're playing way better than they did against Dammon, right?
And way better than game one, right?
As well.
So far, yeah.
But
maybe not so much here on the top side, but I mean, Kingan's having to deal with this pretty insane Aurelia, who's now going to have to try and get out of this one. Doesn't have flash available, and Zeka turned up. Wallop is going to go slightly wide as Zeus moves out of the way of the house. Rune Prison comes in. He's going to get himself at least one stun, but he's not going to be able to go 1v2 this time around. Not quite strong enough. As T1 push out the bottom lane, and they will go for a reset. Probably not too worried.
Oh, they're on a ward.
Yeah.
They're on a ward.
Will this be a catch is the question. Beryl comes down, Lucent Singularity comes in, and Gumayushi has been singled out. Pyosik just audaciously charges on top of him, will be able to get himself a knock-up. Wind becomes lightning as Deft wants to grab the kill, and he will do so with the Gale Force. So that's another one. Now DRX up to 6 kills here in this mid-game. You can see the gold, still 1,000 gold in the lead for T1, which is just generally what they do.
Come on, Carrier. When you go out together, you go home together. Can't just leave Guma like that. As beautiful cancel timing there, found by Beryl. Ward paying dividends for them, able to get a kill, crucially onto Deft. And as we said at the beginning of the game, keeping Deft at least within reach, or within distance rather, of anyone on T1 is really important. I just don't know if it's going to be enough. As Faker picks up the Everfrost here, and
yeah.
Dev's going to need a whole lot more gold if he wants to be able to kill the Vega before Faker is in range of any Event Horizon shenanigans. Says, I feel like this is the first play that is just 100% won by DRX in like this entire game.
Yeah, especially given the wave state as well in mid lane that I didn't have time to look at. The fact that Zeka is so free to do this is very important. So able to get one back against Zeus that was really feeling himself here in this matchup.
그냥 잡아.
Zeka? I'm not dying.
Yeah, I think Beryl understood that he could have potentially been hit for a lot of damage by Gumayushi.
As Faker is gonna throw down a cage, but again, like the top side control has been really good. Kingen.
Yeah, doing a fair bit of damage here to Ona, who's now taking it personally. And the fadeaway boomerang will be enough to deter the Viego for now. DRX feeling like they have a little bit more spring in their step.
400 gold down. That's not bad.
No.
I mean, 450 maybe, but it's pretty close.
Yeah. I mean, 700 now? 800? Okay. Yeah, you have to try and you have to search. You have to search a little bit harder to find the positives in a game like this. But still, DRX are doing the things that they need to in order to get to that mid game where Deft wants to be taking turrets. They want to be opening up the map, things like this. As that's the ace in the hole, just to return the favor there. Chains of Corruption go down though, as Zeka is going to have to go golden. Final Spark comes down on a Faker, but he is already looking pretty tanky with that Everfrost online. And now Ona versus Pyoshik. T1 just going to walk on in as if they own this river. Yeah, and they kind of do.
I love this, honestly. I'm really happy to see DRX back off here. Because their team fighting is very reliant on Mega Gnar, right? If they can set up shop and actually clear out the vision and use the threat of a Lux binding, or Rise, or Pyoshik diving on top of someone, like they might be able to do on this Drake, that's when they can fight.
Yeah, well, DRX are going to set up here. They're looking for the engage onto Carrier, and they will grab that kill, but they sacrifice their jungler for it. Drake is going to be up in 5 seconds. Time is now Kingen. Underneath this turret as Mini Gnar. Does have his Gnar bar building, but doesn't quite have enough of it, as Shirley will immediately be plonked down to try and open up this map for T1. DRX looking a little bit worse for wear as far as health bars. They at least still have a turret, and the Event Horizon does not connect. And so they will be able to take down Shirley, as she is going to get finished up with that turret, but it looks like T1 should be able to move over and grab Drake number 2.
And while I like the trap, quote-unquote, set there by DRX, I don't think Pyoshik needs to go in that aggressively. If they play a little bit slower and they just get a lot of damage down, use the chunk that they can get with Deft and Beryl within the time of their binding, then you might have the opportunity to actually get a lot more done, right? But because they actually go for a full-on fight here without Kingen being there at all, Pyoshik ults and then everyone moves in because everyone barring Guma is short range, so they don't really care. And that's the end of it. Carrier now recognizing that the roaming stage is over and the teamfight stage has begun, has now switched to plated steel caps. Faker, unfortunately, finishing with Seraphs. Not the best item on Vega, but when you're this far ahead, does it really matter?
Not really.
No.
Not really at all. In fact, just finishing an item, having a good time is probably what you want to do. And look, stacking things on Veigar just feels really good, you know? He's very good at stacking, just in general.
He is.
So I'm kind of all about it. It's going to be Blade of the Ruined King completed here for Zeus. We'll see whether it's going to be Gore Drinker next. And Kingen has at least passed the summit test and put together a Trinity Force. And he has that one. But yeah, it's still looking very, very dicey for the top laner of DRX in this game. The Aurelia is certainly working out a lot better than she has in the past, right? Zeus certainly demonstrating that he does have the mastery required to make this matchup look like a counter. Gumayushi coming through with a bit of a piercing arrow, but it's going to be met with a Realm Warp as immediately Pyoshik's going to get in there. Carrier defending his bottom laner with his life as now Faker is trying to get in there, gets a stun, but he's going to be stunned in return as well. Beryl shields up Pyoshik as he comes back through. Really nice pick off there onto Carrier for DRX, but what else can they get after it?
That's the key question. Nice find here for DRX. trying to threaten the turret here, but the wave clear is quite good with the Veigar. It's hard to dive as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can do much more than this. And that Magana ball, that's going to be one of the biggest things that we're going to have to keep our eyes on as the game progresses, because that, to me, is the main team fighting power for DRX. Their individual ability to blow up a member, that part's great, right? When it comes to picking people off, this comp is amazing, but actual fighting, 5v5, is going to be relying on that, because if you don't find the lockdown on something like Aurelia, she's going to 1v9 your entire backline, and it's going to be pretty hard to stop her.
Yeah, and often teams don't have 9 in their backline. So it might even be easier than that.
I mean, I can imagine.
Yeah. As we're going to check this one out one more time. Carrier kind of paying a little bit for Gumayusi's step out of the brush. As, yeah, T1 identified that it's a lost cause pretty early on. And are going to be able to get at least a stun on the way out. But nice pick for DRX to start this one up. Some signs of life from this team.
They're hanging in there, Atlas. They're not giving up.
And if they win this, remember, 3rd place is on the line. They can get ahead of Damwon Kia after Damwon Kia's loss against Fred at Brionne. I think it's still possible with a 2-1. Is Pioshik going to turn up and look for Faker? Just gets inside his own cage. That is going to keep him alive. No worries.
Yeah, Faker popping the Predator boots and dropping down the cage, and not afraid whatsoever. And now as the early to mid game starting to slowly transition, more objectives. Kingen.
Depth charge comes on in. He is going to try and hop his way out, but that's only going to set up the hook from Carrier. Final spark is going to be final only for the Gnar right now as Pioshik gets back underneath this turret. Gumayusi in position for a Chains of Corruption, just throws it out. Doesn't quite find his target, but does find the piercing arrow. And T1 will get to work on this inner turret even more. Gold is going to be put into this squad as the Dark Matter rains down. Faker not able to find the rise, but isn't threatened either, as Zeker is going to slink back into the river.
Nice beautiful strike there as well by Faker, setting up either you get hit by the W, or I get a stack. Got a stack, and he's feeling good about that. And this kind of showcases the problem, is that T1 has complete vision control of the bottom side of the map, and you can't even try and defend this turret, especially not as mini Gnar. And with that, it's so hard to find plays, right? Because you ideally, as DRX, want to find a flank. Kind of need to.
Yeah.
Unless someone walks into a trap, walks into a binding, it becomes really hard for you to actually play out these fights. And yeah, Gumayusi, while all of this has been going on, has just been casually getting more and more fed, picking up like a little bit of kills left and right.
And now there's an event horizon for Pioshik to deal with. Decent little stun there from Ona, but no follow-up. T1 can basically pick whichever battles they would like, as Zeus is going to move in. And so now might be the time for fighting. As Zeker is looking for a flank, gets into the Hex Gate. And T1, they know exactly what's going on. They are looking for the Rise, who is now on the run, trying to get out of here. It looked like an aggressive play, but in the end, wasn't so much.
Oh,
as now Kingen's going to get collapsed on. As Carrier going to get the flash out of depth immediately. Knock up as the depth charge comes in.
That's a lot of ultimates.
Yeah, they also have Mega Gnar now available. DRX, I mean, might be just as good a time as any to go for a fight, but no, the hook is going to connect there as Kingen wallops nothing and is just going to be taken down by a W from Zeus. And T1 now get to work on this Drake at Soul Point. A little bit unfortunate there for DRX. That was looking like one of their best opportunities.
T1 gives you no room for mistakes, as what looks initially like a lot of ultimates being thrown, but no kills being actually found, doesn't lead to anything, right? Kingen, a little bit too far forward, even in Mega Gnar. If everyone is wailing at you, you're going to get taken down. And now, keeps getting harder and harder, right? More of these items are getting finished for T1. Gold lead keeps growing and growing, and with Soul Point also now acquired, T1's gonna have so much space in terms of what objectives they can go for. And obviously, these two missed ultimates, okay, there's a shot here. But then look at this arrow. Pioshik already half health, takes like unreasonable amount of damage. And then because of the event horizon, no one can walk up. No one can help Kingen, and he just dies.
Yeah, just not anything in the way of follow-up whatsoever. Zeker not in the area. He's got himself an exhaust and a smite now, though. Maybe we're looking for a potential play. But it's 2.6k the lead here for Zeus. is Aurelia is looking absolutely terrifying. T1 has certainly bred quite a few Aurelia mains so far. Of course, Closer pretty good at the champion. Bertle as well, having his debut performance. Was on Gen G at that particular time, but started on T1, and his Aurelia was great. But Zeus also just having an absolutely wonderful time in this game. 50 CS in the lead, 4-1-0, and with that aforementioned gigantic lead means that no one can match him. Aurelia is a huge problem.
Not even just Aurelia, I think Faker also provides
Oh yeah,
we
hadn't got into the rest of the problems.
Oh yeah, like
one at a time.
I don't know if you need to, you know, because it's really depressing, Atlas.
Yeah.
There's a lot of problems here.
There is certainly a lot of problems for DRX to deal with. T1 looking for the +29 though, and the 18-0. Remember, they are going to start off the Baron. That is certainly one step closer to it. And Carrier will rotate around, exactly right. Pioshik, if he can be the hero, then there might be an opportunity. He flashes in, but he's not going to be able to land the smite. It was relatively close, but not close enough. He's going to go down for it as well, as there's a Nara into the wall. Decent work there from Kingen, but I think he's still going to go down, as Deft is going to get pulled back with the massive anchor of Carrier. And Beryl just watched the rest of his team die. Him and Zeka, both the only ones left alive, as Zeka's behind enemy lines, and Faker is looking to try and catch him out. Realm Warp is going to make sure that Zeka is not going to be able to be taken down just yet, and he's going to split push.
I thought he was going to go for double TP.
With the Hex Gate?
Yeah, TP into TP. Not going to happen. Instead, going to try and get a trade. It's not a great trade, not a trade you're going to be particularly excited about. And overall, this clearly the point where T1, who had been building up lead and lead and lead and lead throughout this game, completely break open the game, right? Because the Baron, if it gets stolen, maybe, the Pioshik just a split second too late. Owner doesn't miss those. And then, obviously, the subsequent fight is so easy to play out.
Yeah.
Carrier, pretty good setup on top of that. It's the final hook as well, but even without that, there's no second, right? Like, because
여기 봐줘.
it just,
캐틀 박았어.
Yeah.
캐틀 높여.
like, what do you do? That's the issue that we've seen into T1.
And the problem is, like, the answer isn't ban Nautilus or anything like this.
Doesn't do anything.
You got to ban Carrier somehow. And that's not going to happen. That's not allowed. This guy's just... He's playing this Nautilus today extraordinarily well, but I don't think it's even the Nautilus's fault, right? This guy just knows where to be, knows how to start the fights that he needs to. And this T1, at exactly the right time, just continuing to look even better. That's nuts.
You know,
yeah, there we go.
That's
okay,
that's a bounty.
Kingen grabs himself a bounty in the top lane.
There's 45 seconds till Soul.
And it's only a 6,000 gold lead.
Yeah.
27 minutes.
It's not like T1 skills, well.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, well, it's
right?
good.
It's fine.
This game isn't over.
It's fine.
Yeah. No.
Fine, Atlas.
I agree with you. All power to you with the positivity.
It's okay. We can make it happen.
Yep. Zeus going to clear out this minion wave. Spots the remnants of what could have been a house if the correct skin was chosen. I believe it was a lump of concrete instead. Or a set of stairs. I think that's what that Gnar skin throws. Anyway, T1 now just setting up for a Hextech Soul. It's going to feel absolutely fantastic. Especially for Zeus and Guma, who will be able to apply it very effectively. Owner as well. As Carrier is just going to pay a visit to his former teammate, and Deft is going to run away. And I don't blame him. More vision to go down here as T1. They give respect where they need to. You can see Zeus playing very far back. Understood that DRX will likely to go for a play here, and they will trade for inner turret in the mid lane and on the bottom side of the map.
Found him.
Yeah, Carrier is looking for Deft. He's going to get himself round the corner. The Ignite goes down as Deft flashes the hook nicely, as Owner is going to get the follow, and this just isn't fair. Kingen's going to turn up. Let's see whether Deft can kite this one out. Hook is going to miss there, but it's going to be, the Aurelia turns up. Kingen's well and truly dead. And T1, they tidy up the stragglers, and now look to break open the base.
Meanwhile, Faker's at 300 stacks and has 630 AP.
Yeah, let's see what that means as far as damage. Yeah, a lot. Cool. Dark Matter comes down. Pyosik is going to be lucky to avoid that as the Realm Warp comes in. Vanguard's Edge was aggressively placed, but I liked it. There from Zeus. Not going to connect, though. There's now T1 on the siege, and they've got a Varus. Very good at sieging. And the bottom lane inhibitor turret's going to be the first one to go down. Faker 5-0 and 6 on this Veigar. Basically unanswerable right now. As Zek is going to walk up to him, he gets put in the cage. And look at how safe Faker is. There's absolutely nothing they can really do. Even with X-Tech Soul slowing them down, doing all that AoE damage. Oh, it's frightening.
And again, I think we've run out of answers. At this point, the lead, insurmountable. Unless T1 all run into the enemy fountain and give over a bunch of free bounties, which I don't expect they will do. I hope they won't, at least.
Unless they really want to play more League of Legends today, as Pyosik is looking for Carrier here, knocks him up, and Carrier's very tanky. As Ace in the Hole comes in, Own is going to turn up. He's now battling the top laner. As Carrier goes golden, he will be taken down. Death secures that kill, as Faker now puts them in the cage. And you can see over the wall is Gumayushi. Decent stun there from Beryl to stop his advance. And now Zeka, he's going to get punished for it. Yes, they thought that they were getting a pick, but I think that T1 has just turned it around. Owner happy to dive forward because he's got a stopwatch, and then there's the flash. A very easy tidy up for Zeus, and T1 are looking to complete the ace and win this game. Pyosik is running the wrong direction to try and keep his team alive. And Faker, yeah, wants him to stand in the Dark Matter and things like this. Didn't have the ulti, but he will be able to find it. With the Baleful Strike, now Nexus turrets will go down. T1, an absolutely historical moment. 18-0 for the first time in the LCK, and they tie 2015 Summer SKT and Damwon 2020 Summer. Two teams that then went on to win Worlds at plus 29 points in the season. Unprecedented from this T1 roster.
A roster in which every single player can carry. That is the dream. That is what you're always trying to look for.